Hello traders, welcome to this video from Elite Currency. My name is Chris Sworsick and we're going to take a look not only at the performance with our systems in April 2022, but also at the financial charts, euro dollar, pound dollar, Bitcoin, gold, and many other charts we'll of course review in this video. So let's start with, as always, the euro dollar. We're going to take a look at this downtrend. Obviously the dollar strengthening quite substantially throughout April. This decline right here has all taken place in that month, basically from a high at about 110 down to below 105. So that was a pretty strong downtrend, obviously, with the dollar strengthening strongly. With that said, due to the speed of the recent fall, the momentum here, the decline, the angle, it looks like a wave 3 of 3 probably, or maybe even a wave 3 of 3 of 3. It really looks very sharp and a lot of momentum there in impulse. So I do think that more downtrend could be expected in May this month at the beginning, but maybe even throughout the month. When we take a look at the higher time frames, of course, we'll see that there's plenty of space to fall down to 103.75, 103.25, 102.50, and maybe even parity down to 100. This low at 104.70 has not been achieved or has not been seen since January 2017. So that's more than 5 years ago. This low basically. So a long time price action has not been in this zone, and finally prices reaching that level. With this momentum, more is probably to come. If we put the fibs on here, as you can see, like this being maybe a wave 1, 2, 3 here, and this being a wave 5 down here. And then within that wave 5, we're looking probably at maybe a wave 1, 2, 3, and then we have a 4 and 5. And of course, that wave 5 of a probably of a wave 3 of wave 3 of 3. So yes, there's more downside could be expected. For the moment, though, in any case, I think that if price breaks through these lows here at the beginning of May, we'll see a dash down to 103.75, 103.25. That's where this wave 3 could end if this is a wave 1, 2, 3. Then we'll have a bigger retracement within wave 4 and down for wave 5. So I think we'll see probably a break, then a pullback and a continuation like that with two more lower lows within that formation of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern. All right, so I expect an extended continuation within 3, wave 3, then a pullback for wave 4, and then a downset for wave 5. Then wave 5 will finish some type of wave 3. Let's get rid of these fibs here. And let's use the moving averages to get a better idea for that. There we go. Let's go to the daily chart now. And here we see basically that, there's a lot of downside here, maybe even the weekly chart. This is looking like a wave 1, 2, 3. Within that 3, of course, let's now dive to the daily chart. There's probably a 1, 2, 3. So you can see easily that's already a wave 3 of 3. And within that 3, there seems to be here a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it could easily be a wave 3 of 3 at this moment, as you can see from these charts. Price action really accelerating away from these long-term moving averages with a lot of momentum and impulse. So I think that there's going to be some continuations to lower lows on the 4-hour chart. That will probably finish that one of those wave 3s, and after that we'll see a bigger retracement. But once that retracement is finished within wave 4, we might get another wave 5. So at least 3 or 4 more lower lows in the long run are likely. Probably 4, to be honest. Let's see what that fits in the bigger picture, weekly chart and monthly chart. So monthly is probably building some very strong 5-wave pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That could go far. If we look at this pattern before, it looks like an ABC pattern finished here with another ABC here. So this could be an entire new swing downwards, which probably gives a lot of space for testing these bottoms and probably even breaking below these bottoms, to be honest. If we put a fib, however, let's put a fib to get to the targets here. You can see that ultimately there's space to the -272 target if these bottoms get broken. So there is a lot of space if we look at that and testing the previous bottom on the left right here. So that space is very interesting. Would need to break below that bottom, of course, but with the current momentum and the current monthly candle looking like it's accelerating, this is the biggest monthly candle. In this entire decline, this is the biggest monthly candle. Most of these bearish candles are bearish, of course. The bearish candles close near the low. In most cases, the majority of the candles are bearish, so this is clearly a bearish impulse on the monthly chart. It is pulling the 21 EMA into a negative angle. The HMA has crossed below the 21 EMA, and this is the most strongest and bearish candle of them all. So that could easily be a wave 3 of 3 within this decline. Okay, so this formation has been completed. This formation looks completed, and we might be looking at a new swing here to the downside. So if that is a wave 3 of 3 at this moment, we're looking at a 3 of 3 of 3, probably. That could give scope for a lot of decline on this euro dollar. Okay? So from that perspective, let's go back let's put the fib on this monthly candle. I don't expect that it will break the candle high during May or June or July for that matter. So let's take a look at the daily now and 4 hour. Yeah, so basically, if there is a push up, I don't expect much, maybe 106.18, but not more than that, and it should fall. Actually, I expect price to break immediately lower, but if it does push the last time up, then 106.18 is probably the bouncing spot for further downside. Okay. Once it makes that downside, once again, we'll have a wave 3 completed, wave 4, and a wave 5 of this swing right in here. Okay, that could complete. Let's put it in perspective. That could complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would complete 5 of 5. So that would complete this swing right here. Okay, so once we get 2 more lower lows, 1 lower low, correction, and another lower low, this particular swing would seem to be completed. Let's put a horizontal line right here and go to the daily chart. Okay, we're looking at 1, 2, probably at a 3, 4, 5. So that would maybe complete this swing as well, potentially. Let me double check. Although we could also be looking at a 1, 2, and this could be 3. Let me put a fib on this swing right here. Yeah, so once we get 2 lower lows, it would seem to complete a 1, 2, 3. So we will probably have a 5, a 5, of 3 completed. And in that case, we'll be looking at 1, 2, 3, a 4, and a 5 of this 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3 here. So that means we have at least three lower lows before we have the blue 1, 2, 3 completed. And of course, in that case, once we have the blue 3 completed, we'll have a blue 4 and 5. So at least 4 lower lows, in fact. Once again, one of the lower lows is an immediate break to the downside or after a small retracement to 106.18. Then we'll have a wave 4, 5 to have the second lower low. Then we'll have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completed. So that would be basically, this would be 3 here, 4, 5. That would be the third lower low. And once that is finished, we'll have a 1, 2, 3 on green. And we'll have a green 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the red will complete the two red arrows here will complete the smaller swings for 3, 4, 5. The blue 3, 4, 5 will complete the blue lines, and the green 3, 4, 5 will complete this swing here as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that means that if we have, after we have the two lower lows on this scale, we'll have a correction probably from here. We'll have to put the fib from here to here. Let's assume it will finish somewhere around 102.50. We'll have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means we'll have wave 4 could go back to 106.40 or maybe even 108.80, 23.6 and 38.2 fib before we continue again down to about parity, as you can see. Probably 106.40 to be honest, but maybe even as high as 108.80 before we go back down to parity. All right, let's see if that happens. Pound USD has been bearish too, of course. Let's take a look at the monthly candle. Breaking below the 21 EMA. It's a little bit less bearish as the HMA is still in the 21 EMA zone, but full throttle here and full continuation to the downside, double top, double bottom, and after price made a double top at the double top right here at the blue arrow, price has been steadily showing a decline and HMA down, bearish candles most of the time, steadily moving lower. So what to expect? Same thing as your dollar pulling away on the weekly chart here as well. This seems to be a wave 3 of 3 as well. And we'll probably look at any pullback could be very mild and small before the downtrend continues, to be honest. 124 was hit. It's very steep price action at this moment. And if there is a retracement, it's probably going to be shallow. If it does retrace deep, any of these fibs could stop it, to be honest. And it would only have to go above these bottoms before a bearish kind of downtrend is invalidated. So I would say keep an eye on basically patterns, like chart patterns, like bear flags, or contracting triangles, and a break of those would be ideal. Now would not be a good moment in my view because it is vulnerable to getting such a pattern after such a strong momentum down. So I would wait for the pattern. If it does hit these fibs, those could be good bouncing spots and good resistance levels for a downtrend continuation towards 122.20 to 122.50. Okay. The dollar yen has been very strong 2 months in a row now. And that's been a rocket. Yeah. So we're looking at basically, sorry about that. If we scale out here a little bit, it's not, sorry, no, this is what I want to show actually. If you put the fib on this 5-wave up, basically, we see there's plenty of space towards the minus 272 target. This looks also like a wave 3 or 3. So if we get a correction, it should be mild. And if we could put the fib on, let's put it from, it will probably be a swing like this from here to here. So if we get a retracement, we expect it to be shallow. 23.6 fib could be a good bouncing spot for continuation higher here at 127.50, for instance. All right, Bitcoin seems to be making a falling wedge. It looks like an A, B, sorry, here's actually, this looks like an A, B, C. Within the B, we think that this could be an A, B, C within blue B, basically. All right, A, B, C, red within blue B. So if it breaks that rising wedge, there could be a surge up to the minus 272 target and a minus 61.8 target. Both levels could be bouncing spots for a reversal back down. Ultimately, it looks like 5-wave ended here, probably wave 3. We're looking at a wave A, B, C. Within that wave 4, if the wave 3 has been finished here, we're looking for a wave 4. But that ABC that I mentioned here could simply be a W correction, and then we'll get an X and Y. There could be a very complex correction, WXY. So this ABC is probably not finishing the wave 4. It's probably finishing only a part of the bigger and more complex and larger corrective pattern. So expecting an ABC within W and then a lot more correction within X and Y. So I think this is just the start of that correction, in my view. The A seems completed. I think we're looking at a wave B. That B can go as high as the head and shoulders level, in my view, but probably not above it. I actually think that probably will not reach that high, maybe the minus 61.8 target in my view, and then make it dash down again. But let's see how much, if the bulls are able to break, first of all, above this rising wedge. If it doesn't break above the rising wedge and breaks below the 61.8 fib, then the 78 and 88.6 fib are still support levels, and there could be a bounce right there. If price doesn't bounce there, but breaks, then of course that invalidates my bullish analysis in the short run. Although we are expecting a wave B, so it's not very bullish, but of course some upside within wave B. But if it breaks through that, then at this bottom, then in that case it's not bullish and it's turning bearish, and that would invalidate my bullish analysis. And in that case, price could easily retest these bottoms back at around the 25 level, sorry, 30 level, 30K level, excuse me, down to 28K. Ethereum, more or less the same thing, basically, although the pattern looks a little bit different, in my view at least. It could still ultimately be the same pattern though, but the swings look a little bit different to me. It looks more like an ABC up has been completed, like this. That's also possible with Bitcoin, of course, as well. And in that case, if we get a break below this support trend line and below these fibs, there could also easily be the fact, because this swing is finished, this swing is finished, and we're getting into a downtrend. So that would be the alternative. If price breaks through those fibs and through the bottom, in that case, we might be looking at a completed downside, completed sideways, and then we're looking at a new swing lower. That's possible. That looks possible with Ethereum as well. That said, of course, it could easily be an ABC up, ABC down for a bigger A, B, and then a C up, just like Bitcoin. So in that regard, that's still viable as well, with wave C aiming probably at roughly the head and shoulders level here and here, probably as a max, I would say, before the bigger A, red A, B, C, blue A, B, C finishing red B. Of course, bearish bounce expected at those head and shoulders levels and target levels for the end of wave B and the start of red wave C. All right, gold. Made a stronger downside than I personally expected, but yeah, bouncing at the long-term moving average here. Not as bullish though. Still, probably in a wave C, wave 4 with an ABC within wave 4, ABC within wave 4. But I would like to see it above the 21A and a pullback and bounce before calling this bullish again. So a little bit on hold, let's say, on the waiting zone. Last month's US 30 monthly candle closing near the low. That low, though, higher than the low of March. So we have a pivot. We have a fractal here from March that with 2 monthly candles not breaking below it. That said, we were not able to break above the high of March either. So we have an inside candle, 2 of them in a row. And we have basically some indecision. March being bullish, but obviously April being bearish. And I think if we look at these smaller candles plus this uncertainty, there's a lot of correction here. Prices going sideways. And I think we see it kind of bending. The trend is your friend until it bends. I see it bending. It is bending. We'll see if there's a follow through, a bigger follow through of the downtrend. Based on that, but it certainly is bending. I think that everyone can see that, and everyone can agree on that. I think we're in bearish territory at this moment. That will not say necessarily that we'll be in a huge downtrend right away, but I think that the pressure will bring it down to the 50 fib, and we'll make this channel expand here, and there'll probably be a bounce at the 50 fib or 61.8 fib, maybe an ABC pattern back to the top of the channel, where I would expect another bearish bounce to test the support fibs to the downside. For me to be bullish, I would need to see price breaking, yeah, probably above the resistance here before considering that to be an uptrend again. Same for DAX, really, to be honest. Same scenario as well. So, yeah, looking at, I think, some retracement in the near future here with regard to these stock indices. All right. Let's now take a look at the performance from April 2022. There we go. Let me correct this a little bit quickly. All right, so first of all, SWAT EA, 1 hour chart, well, we had basically 68.8% so far in more than a year. Pretty good with the SWAT EA, but the last months have gone sideways, so no significant changes in the last 3 months. Not bad, not good either, I guess. Let's take a look at other EAs, such as, for instance, Athena EA here and the PAM. There we go. Athena EA up almost 200% here since we started trading this in August 2021. So that's a significant result, of course. Last month was not bad, plus 5.8% after a very good March of 13.5. February was not as good. That's because of the geopolitical events and the war in Ukraine that, yeah, basically created some slowdown with the performance, made it a little bit difficult to trade for this particular system, but otherwise it's been pretty decent results after that with Athena EA. Same thing for the PAM. That started recently in January. It's up 14% here, and last month was 7.5%. So very good result here for the PAM. As well as the other rental. So I like this performance, looking good. Then we had, of course, options. Options made about 8.5% from Mark Cardoni. He's our CNBC contributor in Italy, who has his course and signals on elite currency in English. But yeah, he basically delivers his commentary in Italian on CNBC, but his course and signals are to be found with elite currency in English. So it's a great honor that he's with us. He's up almost 20% in the meantime as well with options. So we had pretty good results with Athena EA, as you can see, 7.5% and 5.8%. We had good results with options. SWAT EA was about break even. Portfolio is a mixture of methods. It had a tough time in March, but had a good rebound in April with plus 5.8%, so there was positive result as well. New systems, not trading ZUSE anymore as part of the portfolio, but other EAs, and it's been doing pretty well. So good news on that front. On the bad news front was certainly ZUSE. We had bad results and losses with ZUSE, unfortunately, not only in March, but again in April. Not all ZUSE account holders, renters had the same bad results as we did. That does depend, it varies from account to account, because I spoke to someone who had no losses of the ZUSE at all in April and had maybe even some positive results actually. Same system, same month, but he just started with a different moment, and then the settings and algorithms, depending on when you start, have buy and sells at different moments, entries and exits at different moments, and then just bump into different kind of situations depending when the EA was started. So it's not to say that because we had bad results, everyone had bad results. Of course, this can happen to everyone. Even if you didn't have bad results in April, it could happen next month, the month after. That's always a risk of trading. And that's why it's important to risk with capital that you can afford to lose, I can afford to lose, everyone can afford to lose. That happened with us with ZUSIA, and that's always a pity. That's part of the risk. That's why we try to diversify our strategies and systems as much as we can. And that's why we're trading with a wide basket of systems, more than you even see here, as we're basically testing and trying and developing new methods to be as diversified as possible. Portfolio EA, of course, portfolio is our first approach to tap into that diversification offer. I think more will be coming in the future. But portfolio tries to do that already, but keep working on more diversification and trying to add stronger and better EAs to our mixture, basically, of trading systems and approaches. We do that for ourselves because we want to capitalize from the trading as much as we can. So portfolio does that already. Athenia was added, ZUSIA, so we have as much diversification with different kind of approaches as possible. And when a system doesn't perform as we hope, like we do see with ZUSIA now, it doesn't mean that ZUSIA is a bad EA. It does mean that there's always a risk of losses, and we did encounter that with ZUSIA now. But that doesn't mean that all renters have encountered that particular drawdown as you see here. Okay, just shows that being diversified is important, so that if we encounter losses, I should say when we encounter losses, that the losses are limited and can be hopefully compensated with other methods to create a more balanced overall approach. Okay, so yeah, that was unfortunate circumstances and developments here for us with the Zeus. So that's why it's also important to grab profits as well, right? Along the way, and not always reinvest the profits and keep reinvesting the profits. It doesn't, reinvesting profits is fine, but it's useful to reinvest maybe those profits in other types of systems, so that we don't keep adding capital to that same EA. A little bit maybe is okay, but as you can see, there's always a risk. So grabbing the profit eventually at certain times is certainly a very viable and logical approach. All right, that's it from my side. Let's hope that the other systems will have good months to compensate for us this loss on ZUSIA. We also are working on and trading other EAs that are not been mentioned yet here. A lot of exciting new developments, of course. But feel free to diversify in Athena EA portfolio, of course, with a mixture of methods. And wish everyone great trading in the meantime. And we'll be back next month, the beginning of June, with a new update. Cheers, bye-bye.